Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So on today's episode we are going to be talking about the frequently asked questions on IELTS. So in my introduction, my previous video, I spoke about having an extensive lesson for the IELTS in each module, delving deep into them. But then before we are able to get into it, we need to know the basics. But with the basics first, there are some misconceptions that has to be ruled away, and there are certain things that need to be understood before one can actually take on the IELTS class. So looking at our frequently asked questions, the first frequently asked questions is, how many types of IELTS do we have? People normally get confused as to the type of IELTS that we have. So for the types of IELTS, we have two types of IELTS. With the two types of IELTS, we have the academic and then the IELTS general, basically, under the two types. Now, what does this mean? What does the academic mean? What does the general mean? Because they are both IELTS. So what is the difference? Now, the difference is that for the academic, it's actually for academic purposes majorly. That is for people that want to undertake undergraduate and postgraduate courses in foreign countries that are English-speaking countries, need the IELTS academic. Also, it is for student visas, and sometimes it is also for work visas, for work people that want to work in English-speaking country. Then when we look at the general can also be used for studies, but can be used for courses that are under degree. So under degree courses like diploma courses, certificate courses. So if you want to travel to an English-speaking country or enroll in an English-speaking country's school, you would need to write the academic if you want to undertake an undergraduate or postgraduate course. But if you want to take a diploma, a certificate, or a below degree course, then you need the general. The general is also for trainings like workshops in English-speaking countries. So if you want to go to or visit an English-speaking country for a particular workshop or a training, you need the general. So looking at these two now, we know what the academic is for and we know what the general is for, but we have divisions under both of them. So the divisions we have is that we have the standard and then the UKVI. So that is, if we take the IELTS academic and the IELTS general, each both has different divisions that are the standard and the UKVI. So we have the standard academic, the UKVI academic, the standard general, the UKVI general, or the life skills as well. So when we will still ask all these divisions, what are they? It depends on the organization that is enrolling people, or the organization that you want to join, that will determine which of the IELTS you would take. Yes, they are both English proficiencies, they are both English testing scores, but they have a standard that they follow. Each organization in these countries have a particular standard they wish their candidates will follow. So that's why we have divisions of the IELTS. So it depends on the organization, the university. It depends on who is recruiting. It depends on who is enrolling, that will determine which of the IELTS to take. But being fair about it, or being basic about it, is that the IELTS academic is for undergraduate and postgraduate, and also for student visas, also for other works like nursing and other stuff. And then when we come to the IELTS general, for below degree, we get it. So depending on the organization, depending on what you want to do, or what you want to go and do in an European country, or in a country that has English as their number one It depends, their first language. It depends on what you are going to do in that country that would determine which of the IELTS you take. So with this, I am sure we now understand the types of IELTS that we have. So the next question is that, okay, so I want to travel to the UK or I want to travel to the US. Now I know that IELTS basically is more like originated from the UK, where we have the British Council, more like it. That is the perception. So if I want to go to the UK, which of the IELTS should I take? If I want to go to the US, which type of the IELTS should I take? Initially, it was circulating, or initially we were of the view that the UKVI, which is the United Kingdom Visas and Immigration, that is the UKVI, was strictly for those that wanted to come to the UK, but the standard was for every other country that accepted the IELTS. Now that view is no longer applicable, as both of the IELTS are accepted in any country that accepts IELTS. So what I am saying is that you can write IELTS, any of the IELTS, that's the standard or the UKVI, and then use it to apply in any country that accepts the IELTS. So it is not just limited to the UK. You can use it in Australia, in Canada, in USA, in New Zealand, wherever that the IELTS is one of the requirements. You can use any of the IELTS. Now, so knowing that, someone will say that, okay, so I'm going to school. What are the cutoff for IELTS that I need to get? For students or people that want to enroll in school, it depends on the university. So the organization has to determine the cutoff they want from their candidate. So some schools have an overall band score of 7.0. Others go as far as an overall band score of 8.0. So it depends on, so what are the advices that per the schools or per the courses that you would want to enroll in, you would have to do a research into that university to know what their cutoff for the IELTS should be. That is their international, for their international students, what their cutoff point for the IELTS should be. If you want to be a worker, I'd be focusing on nurses, because I'm a nurse and I'm actually doing this to help my colleague nurses. So looking at nurses, so nurses would ask, okay, what are their cutoff points for IELTS? So nurses that want to come to the United Kingdom, the cutoff for the IELTS is actually an overall band score of 7.0. That is if you want to come to the United Kingdom as a registered nurse. So as a registered nurse, you know, nursing as a profession, if you want to go and practice in another country, you need to join their board. That is their Nursing and Midwifery Council. And each country's Nursing and Midwifery Council has their own requirements. So for the Nursing and Midwifery Council for the United Kingdom, their requirement is for you to have the IELTS overall band score of 7.0. You can have more than the 7.0. So that is a minimum of 7.0 is accepted. And to get that 7.0, you need to get a score of 7.0 in 3 of the modules. Now, how many modules do we have for IELTS? We have 4. That is, we have the reading, the writing, the listening, and the speaking. So they would require that you get a 7.0 in 3 of the modules. That is the reading, the writing, the reading, the listening, the speaking, and a 6.5 in the writing. Let me repeat that because I made a mistake. So they require that you make a 7.0, a minimum of 7.0 in reading, in speaking, and listening, and then a 6.5 in writing. That is what will actually qualify you, one of the qualifications, the requirement for joining their board. However, after registering with their board doesn't guarantee that automatically you have a job. No, there are some hospitals or some jobs that personally have preference of IELTS cutoffs. That is what I'm trying to say, is some hospitals have their own preferences. So even though the Nursing and Midwifery Council accepts an overall band score of 7.0 and above, some hospitals, individual or some trusts, have their own cutoffs that they would like to see their applicants or candidates have. Not all generally, but some. So let's not delve deep into that. We would have to make an extensive research or make applications to know which hospital, which hospital wants and what cutoffs they want. But generally, if you want to come into the United Kingdom as a registered nurse, you need to have an IELTS score, overall IELTS score of 7.0. If you want to go to Canada, you need to have an overall band score of 6.5, minimum of 6.5. That is, you can have 6.5 in the following modules. You can have 6.5 in reading, in writing, in listening, and a 7.0 in speaking. That applies to the USA and Australia as well. Okay, so focusing on the United Kingdom. So if you want to come into the United Kingdom as a carer, that means that you are not going to be registered on their Nursing and Midwifery Council board, because carers are not really categorized as professionals. Like, you have not undergone a course, you've not undergone a long-term course by a governed body to become a carer. So it is not actually governed, it doesn't have a governed body. So if you want to come in as a carer, the required cutoff point is 5.5, an overall band score of 5.5. That means that you need to have a minimum of 5.0 in each of the 4 modules. So you can come in as a carer. You would not be registering with the Nursing and Midwifery Council, but then you would require an overall band score of 5.5. But coming in as a registered nurse, it is very mandatory to join the Nursing and Midwifery Council, and your overall band score should be a 7.0. I hope the clarity, I hope it makes sense what I'm saying. Okay, so the next questions that people normally ask is, if I want to come in as a registered nurse or I want to come in as a carer, which of the IELTS do I need to take? So basically, for registered nurses or for the medical side, IELTS academic is required. IELTS academic is required. So either the standard or the UKVI. So if you want to come in as a registered nurse, you can either write the standard academic or the UKVI academic. You can write any of them and it is accepted. But if you want to come in as a carer, that is, if you want to go to the United Kingdom as a carer, you need to write the UKVI. It is limited to just the UKVI. So if you write the standard academic, you can't use it for your applications as a carer. You can only use it for your application as a registered nurse. So for applications as a carer, if you want to use the carer route, you need to write the UKVI. So UKVI and standard academic are both accepted for registered nurses, but for carers, it is only the UKVI that is accepted. I hope that is clear. So sometimes people ask, do I automatically get a job if I take the IELTS? On that, a lot of misconceptions around. A lot of people think if I write the IELTS, automatically the following week I can get a job. A lot of speculations. Now, don't get confused. IELTS is not a guarantee for a job. It is just one of the pathways. It pushes you up the process. So to be able to get a job, there are a lot of requirements to be able to enroll in a school, to be able to travel or study in a foreign country that speaks English. You are required to have certain things in place. And one of those things is to have an IELTS result, or to write the IELTS and then get the required result. Getting the required result for IELTS is just a step further in the process, but does not guarantee, because there are other factors that can also determine if you would get a job, if you would get enrolled in the school. There are other determinants. So IELTS is just one of the determinants and doesn't solely guarantee that you would automatically get a job if you pass your IELTS. So I hope that's being out of the way. The next question is going to be that, okay, so I've gone to school, I studied in English from primary or from infancy to my degree or my diploma level or whatever level you are, my master's, why am I then required to write the IELTS? So yes, that is a very good question, because it's true. I'm speaking clearly in English, and I might have audience that are not from my country but would definitely understand what I'm saying because they also comprehend English. But the point is that most of the countries, in fact all the countries in Africa and some Asian countries, are actually seen not to have English as their first language, which is true. So we have diverse languages from our home countries, and English is not the first, even though we do learn in English. It is based on which country colonized your country that determines which. So those that are francophone normally use French as their teaching language, and those by the English countries, by the British, also use English. But then so that is basically it. So they would want to test your idea to know that you are able to speak, to be able to comprehend their type of English. That's what they are assuming. Since it is not your first language, you'll be able to understand their language. So that is why they need you to have an IELTS to show. So it could either be, IELTS is not just the English test that can show. We have OET. People who use NARIC, that's those people that have actually been to the degree level, can use a letter that is the NARIC to prove that they did study in English and that they comprehend the language. But if not, basically it's just the IELTS to show that, oh yes, I did study in English, I do understand English, and here is my proof. That is just it. So recapping everything, I hope this episode has been helpful for you to know which of the IELTS you need to take for the particular pathway you need to go, or the process or the route that you are taking. I hope this has been helpful. Nevertheless, I would also advise that per the organization that you want to enroll to, the organization that you want to work with, or wherever that you want to be, make an in-depth research to know what their requirements are before you register it out, so that you don't end up wasting money registering and then finding out that is not what they need. So you actually have to do an in-depth knowledge is power, and then research brings about knowledge. So it is actually good to have in-depth research and understanding to what you are doing, where you are going, where they need, and it's going to be helpful. I hope this has been helpful. All right, thank you. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get more about IELTS. I'll talk more and more extensively about each module, and also about a lot of things concerning the IELTS. Stay tuned. Okay, bye.